Methuselah lived after the birth of Lamech for 782 years and had other sons and daughters. Thus, all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. Here ends the reading from God's holy word.
Older Than Dirt, Part 2. When I turned 50, I preached a sermon titled Older Than Dirt, and we get another birthday 2 weeks ago. I am substantially beyond 50, thus today's sermon, Older Than Dirt, Part 2. Aging in a youth-oriented world was quite an experience, good and bad. There are so many advances in health and medicine, so much more awareness. In many ways, this is a great time to be old and to be alive. So I'm not complaining, I'm still here, that's a good thing. You may remember the Colorado governor some years back who advised that older Americans should just die, get out of the way, make room for the younger generation. He perhaps had envisioned some sort of political Soylent Green, that awful science fiction movie in which at a certain age older people get turned into a nutritional drink for the more valued younger generation. Now, being downgraded comes in various ways. In some ways, I long for the good old days, when if I cut somebody off while driving or backed up carelessly into oncoming traffic, that would elicit from the other person road rage. People would yell and scream and be vulgar and maybe even jump out of their car and challenge me to a fight. It got your blood rushing, made you feel alive. Now, well, I did that this week down on Post Road. Backed out into traffic, almost smashed into a Jeep, and the driver just sort of sat there, looking at me with such pity. Then he gave me that exasperated, condescending look that 35-year-old males give to people my age. Go on, go on. I wasn't worth fighting anymore. And that's what got me thinking about today's scripture lesson that you just heard. And I think I saw your eyes glaze over with that scripture. But you know, there really aren't that many scriptures about old people and not many occasions to use those verses. Think about the people we just heard about, especially their lifespan. Seth, 912. Enosh, 905. Kenan, 910. Mahalalel, 895. Jared, 962. Enoch, 365. Methuselah, 969. Think of Seth, 105 when he became a father for the first time and had more kids after that. Enosh started parenting at 90. Jared at 162. Methuselah, 187. Stop and think about that. You're 187 years old, and A, you're still alive, B, you're still married, and C, you're raising a kid. 187, and you're changing diapers, putting on their winter clothes, going to Little League games and parent-teacher conferences, and saving for their college education. These people are having kids at 100, raising kids at 200, playing with grandkids at 300. Now, I have no idea if they ever retire. What kind of 401k would you need when you were 500? Now, of course, I know that a lot of people dismiss those kinds of Bible stories as just sort of typical biblical myths, not to be taken seriously. But when I was a pastor in New York City, I had a great scientist who belonged to my church, Dr. Raymond Damadian, the actual inventor of the MRI machine. He took me once to Brooklyn to go to his lab and see the prototype of that first MRI. It was gigantic. It was like something out of Star Trek. Damadian was a great scientist and a great inventor and a devout, serious Christian. He took the Bible very seriously, and he believed these stories of 895-year-old Mahalalel, 365-year-old Enoch, and 969-year-old Methuselah. He told me, and I'm practically quoting verbatim, you go back 5,000 years, you remove all the carcinogens from daily life, you clean up the air, you eat healthy, what you can catch and what you can grow, you walk everywhere, you don't be sedentary, you don't smoke, and you eat yogurt, then sure, he told me, the outliers, the best of the best, could very well have lived to 300, 500, and 79. Of course, the more interesting question is, what did they do with all those years? Or more personally, what would you do with all those years? Take me, for example. I just had another birthday. I'm still here. Imagine if I were just getting started. Our 4 kids, just the beginning. My 22 years as your pastor, only a warm-up. All my degrees and experience just practiced for what's ahead. And all those books of mine I make you keep buying, wait until my encyclopedia comes out. Well, let me be a bit more serious. Let's look at one of those long-lived people. I'll pick Enoch, one of the young whippersnappers in the group, and he only made it to 365 years of age. For perspective, that means that if he died today, he would have been born in 1654. And if he was born today, he would live to the year 2384. When I do funerals of older people, I always ask the congregation to think about all the changes that that person has experienced in their lifetime. Transportation, technology, jobs, medicine, daily life. And with a little imagination, everyone is able to do it. Well, this spring, we're going to do the funeral for Eleanor Lobdell. She goes back before the cell phone and the telephone, before the computer or TV, before integration and women's suffrage, before the NFL, the NBA, women's soccer, heck, even before women's sports. You get the picture. Now try 365 years of living. Let's review what the Bible tells us about Enoch. The Bible says, quote, when Enoch had lived 65 years, 65, retirement, mandatory retirement, Social Security, early bird specialist, out to pasture, 65. He became the father of Methuselah. And after he became the father of Methuselah, Enoch walked with God for 300 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Enoch lived 365 years. Enoch walked with God. Then he was no more because God took him away. Now, granted, that's a short obituary for 365 years. I mean, what was his job? Where did he go to school? What were his clubs and activities and interests? No mention. Except God in his obituary 3 times. The obituary is 4 sentences long, and God is in 3. Twice it says Enoch walked with God, and when all was said and done, God took him. As you know, I have a weekly adult class called Religion in the News, and it's exactly what it sounds like. I look for news stories that pertain to the world of religion, and my goodness, the news is full of religion. One of the very first articles I used decades ago was a simple obituary. Walter Jones, deacon, dead at 82. Think of that. If you read obituaries, you know that the obituaries of prominent people that get a whole article in the paper, they always feature the thing they're known for in the headline. Like Walter Jones, Broadway star. Walter Jones, Nobel Prize winner for math. Walter Jones, Yankee hero of 1946 World Series. Or the real Walter Jones, deacon. Or Enoch, walked with God, dead at 365. The walk with God seems important, doesn't it? It's his defining characteristic. It could well be on his headstone. Better minds than mine have pointed out that when you look at a headstone, you see the date of birth, the date of death, and then they put a dash in between. And it's the dash that's really important. The dash is where all the action takes place. Birth, you shouldn't get much credit for that. Your mother did all of the work. Death is not really an accomplishment per se, but the dash, well, therein lies the story of our lives. Enoch's story is he walked with God. An interesting lesson. On some level, you might think he got shortchanged. His father lived to be 962, his son 969. Enoch got 35% of what they got. But that's life, isn't it? Since time immemorial, some people get more, some people get less, some have tougher luck, greater challenges, less opportunities, bigger houses, shorter retirements, better health, more troubles. Luck of the draw, we might say, or fate, or karma, or God's will, or genes. But we all get what we get. The great equalizer is the dash. What do you do with your dash? Sure, it's my 1 millionth birthday that's got me thinking about this. The passage of time, the changes that come, the world passing by so quickly, and wondering about the intersection of youth and age. Are we all just sitting around waiting for that moment when younger drivers treat us with pity? Or do we all still have something to share? Wasn't I taught in geometry that two lines eventually intersect in infinity? Well then, what about your dash and mine? Our Adult Education Board has launched a new initiative, getting our teenagers and adults to sit together, talk, share about faith and life, lessons learned, God moments, two dashes intersecting, each gaining strength, even wisdom from the other. The younger generation, not dismissed as babes in the woods or wet behind the ears or mature, and the old generation, not over the hill, out to pasture in the wet. I actually lived my life in both of those worlds. Last Sunday night, Alita and I had our usual meeting with our junior deacons, sophomores and juniors in high school. A few days earlier, our state senator and church member, Tony Huang, had hosted a meeting in our church about bullying open to the public. And so we followed that up with our junior deacons. And my goodness, they gave us a tutorial on modern life in high school and the role of technology and the power of words and images and the stresses and pressures of daily life and the desire to do the right thing and to be a good person. And then on Thursday, I led 2 Bible studies, 22 people, the oldest, 103. The rest of us with varying lengths of dashes. And once again, from those people, what wisdom, what insight, what ideas, what profound depth of faith. There we have it. My 15-year-olds full of compassion and confronted by an exhausting world, determined to be a force for change, living daily life with their faith close to them, and my older adults with a world experience and a depth of knowledge and hearts as big as all our wheels. Now, of course, age has its differences. At a youth meeting a year or so ago, several years ago now, I was trying to impress our teenagers with how hip I am. I was bragging about my favorite rock and roll band, Green Day. My favorite teenager said out loud, "Oh, David, that's so 5th grade." Which is why I'm never getting a tattoo. The New York Times Sunday magazine, my birth week issue a couple of weeks ago, was titled, "The 25 Songs That Matter Right Now." You got that? The 25 songs that young people really know, respond to, think about, that matter. 25 of them. 21 of the songs I had never heard of, 19 of the performers I had never heard of. But this isn't about loving each other's music. Let's face it, at least part of the purpose of every generation is to annoy the generation above you and to embarrass the generation below you. I've worked hard my whole life to annoy my parents and to embarrass my kids and grandkids. It's an art form. We're all each other's fair game. Culture, hairstyle, music, fads, trends, heck, even politics. But that's not our dashes. Our dashes is where we live, not where we play, live. Enoch walked with God. That was his dash. So what the heck is walking with God? Well, think about it. What's walking with anybody? Doesn't it imply a camaraderie, a side-by-sideness, and intimacy? If you're walking down the street and you find yourself next to someone you don't know or don't care to know, you speed up so you can pass them, or you lag behind so you're not with them. But if you're going to be cheek to jowl with someone, it's going to be with someone you like, someone you want to bond with, someone that makes the walking special. Enoch walked with God. Some years ago, while I was president of Habitat for Humanity, I had to make an emergency trip to what was then called Zaire, now the Congo. We had a young male volunteer who was misbehaving, that's what some of the missionaries said, misbehaving with an African woman. They were outraged at such immorality, and I needed to come over there immediately and drag that boy back to America. He's such a disgrace. So I went over. I met with everybody. I met with the young American boy, the young African girl, the Irate missionaries. And then I met with the village village elders and the village pastor. And the elders and the pastor, they were not scandalized at all. Of course they are together, boy and girl, they told me. We knew about it from the very first day. Everybody knew. Once they were seen walking together, everything was known. You see, walking together meant something. Walking together meant you are together. You are intimate. You are committed. So the elders said, let us now have the marriage. The next day I married the couple, and 40 years later, they're still walking together. That's God and Enoch. Intimacy, closeness, in each other's head, in each other's heart, in each other's space. I think a lot about what we're trying to do as a church in this wonderful church of ours. And I think it's to help each of us walk with God, each in our own way. Some like quiet, some need community for that to happen, some choose an activity. Some have a place or a time where it happens best to walk with God. Some use rituals or rites or objects, incense, candles, music, prayer beads. Some prefer to read, some to listen, some to talk. And it's the same with your human friends. Sometimes you literally walk together, a power walk in the morning, a walk in the beach on vacation, the two of you chatting away, sharing. Nowadays, walking together can mean Skyping, FaceTime, emails, texts, each keeping the other, even one another's prayers. But here's the take-home lesson from Enoch's 300-year walk with God. Number one, you can bet it was intentional. Being connected, staying connected does not just happen. A relationship, even with God, takes connection. You have to be intentional about it. You want to walk with God? I'm dead serious. Make an appointment. Make it real. Show up. Bring your full self. Be intentional. Number two, you can bet it was regular. Real friendships, real relationships are not catch as catch can, or maybe, maybe not iffy, they're regular. Number three, you can bet it was personal. When Enoch and God walked together, they got into it, and they got down to brass tacks. Now I'll use that word again, real. It was real. They were real with each other. Real means real time and real life and real emotions. You can't stand on ceremony with one another for 300 years. You can't talk fluff and sports and weather for 300 years. At some point, you have to bare your soul and get personal. And number four, you can bet it was effective. You can't do something for 300 years if it doesn't work. We can bet that Enoch got something out of it. Pleasure, inspiration, motivation, guidance, ideas, confidence. Enoch walked with God because walking with God was better than not walking with God. So he kept at it for 300 years, intentional, regular, personal, and as a result, effective. The point of my sermon is that those of us who've been around for a while, and those who are just sort of getting started in life, and those who find themselves midway in everything, we're all living out our dashes, and we all have something worth sharing. You may not like the way I drive at this stage of my life, and I may not like your music, but that's not really where our dashes intersect. Our dashes intersect here. This old wooden church, this Sunday morning going to church thing, this 84 years of Dogwood and 41 years of going Appalachia and 20 years of feeding the hungry at St. George's, this prayer candle stand where something is always lit for somebody all week long, this prayer on a Sunday morning that covers a whole multitude of issues, this $1 million church budget that you give us that helps and loves and touches so many, this everyday effort that you and I make to be Christ-like, this tireless commitment to do-goodism and loveism and Bible study and to visiting, these pennies for people's cans and building your Lenten garden and writing your Lenten devotional and volunteering, this weekly confession we do every week about what's gone wrong in our lives and the weekly assurance of forgiveness that make the next week worth living and the weekly offering that says thank you. All of that is our walking with God. Keep it up for another 300. Our final hymn, Fairest Lord Jesus, number 97. Number 97.